page in SageMaker. I'm clicking on jobs, and as you can see, these are a list of jobs that I've previously ran using SageMaker. To create a training job, click on this button, give it a name. We've covered the IAM role for execution, and then in the algorithms drop-down menu, you have a bunch of options. The first 10 items in the menu are the pre-built algorithms that comes with SageMaker. Let's look at a linear learner. Linear regression or logistic regression, you can define a bunch of hyperparameters. If you are a machine learning engineer or a data scientist, you're quite familiar with these hyperparameters. For example, here, the predictor type could be binary classifier or a regressor. With binary classification here, you have a bunch of other hyperparameters. For example, optimizer. For example, optimizer of either you have the option of using atom or stochastic gradient descent. And when you're done with your hyperparameters, you define your input data configuration as in a training, validation, and test datasets, the location of where you want your models to be saved, encrypting the models with a KMS key, and then creating a training job. Let me show you a SageMaker notebook instance comes with a great number of sample notebooks which cover all of these functions in SageMaker in great detail in code. Introduction to Amazon algorithms. There is a sample of linear learner binary classification using MNIST. Let's click on that. Let me open that notebook. And as you can see, the introduction to the MNIST datasets and what we're trying to achieve here. Setting up permissions and roles and S3 buckets, ingesting the data, inspecting the data, and then data conversion, and then uploading the training data to S3, and this is where you actually start your trainings. This is the location of the containers in different regions that you can run training on, and these containers contain the code for linear learner. And this is finally where you actually execute the training. You import your libraries, you establish a session to SageMaker service, and then using estimators, you define the parameters you want to run for your training, as we've covered, for example, the number of instances, the type of instances, the locations where you want your models to be saved, and these are the hyperparameters that we discussed. For example, in this example, we are using binary classifier with a feature dim of 784, which is, if you're familiar with the MNIST dataset, is the number of features in each photo, and the mini batch size of 200. After you've defined all of this, all you need to do simply is to call fit.